Not all heirlooms are gifts. Some are cages. They are not forged from silver and gold, but from sorrow and rage. They don't hold a picture of a loved one, but a memory that refuses to die. A secret that festers in the dark. A scream trapped in metal, waiting. For decades, it can lie dormant, silent and cold, sleeping in a velvet-lined grave. But it is always listening, always waiting for the warmth of a new touch, a new heartbeat. And sometimes, all it needs is for someone new to listen back. I never knew my great-aunt Ilara. I'd only heard her name in hushed family whispers, a kind of sad, forgotten story. So when this box arrived, it felt like a message from a ghost I'd never met. Inside, nestled on faded velvet, was this locket. It was heavier than it looked, cold to the touch. The silver was tarnished with age, carved with these beautiful thorny vines. It was the most intricate, melancholy piece of jewelry I'd ever seen. The lawyer's letter was brief. Just said she wanted me to have it. No explanation. No story. It felt strange, inheriting something so personal from a complete stranger. There was a faint scent clinging to the velvet, something like dried roses and dust. I couldn't find a clasp to open it, but I felt a strange pull towards it, a sense of deep, ancient history sleeping inside the metal. I decided to wear it. I felt like it was what she would have wanted. It was my first and biggest mistake. The first time it happened, I almost dismissed it. I was just reading, the apartment quiet, except for the hum of the fridge. Then, a cold spot. It was so sudden and so localized, like someone had opened a freezer door right next to me. The hairs on my arms stood up. I looked around, but everything was normal. The windows were closed, no drafts. But the feeling, it was a heavy, watchful cold. I touched the locket at my neck. It felt like ice against my skin, far colder than it should have been. And then I heard it. A sound so faint I thought I'd imagined it. A whisper, like the rustle of a silk dress from the other room. I called out, my voice sounding small and foolish in the silence. Of course, no one answered. The cold faded as quickly as it came, but the feeling of being watched lingered. I told myself it was just my imagination, the power of suggestion from an old, creepy piece of jewelry. I was wrong. It's one thing to feel a chill. It's another to see your own face betray you. I was just washing my hands, the water running, the mirror fogging up at the edges. I glanced up at my reflection, and for a second, it wasn't me. The face looking back was thinner, paler. The eyes were wrong. They were filled with a century of sorrow and a cold, burning anger that wasn't mine. It was a woman in a high-collared dress, her hair pinned up in an old-fashioned style. It lasted for less than a heartbeat. A flicker. Then it was just me again, my heart hammering against my ribs, my knuckles white on the edge of the sink. I splashed cold water on my face, telling myself I was exhausted, that I was seeing things, but I knew what I saw. It wasn't a trick of the light. It was a face in my mirror. It was her. The locket felt heavy on my chest, like a stone pulling me down. I tried to take it off, but the clasp wouldn't budge. It was stuck, or it didn't want to leave. Sleep was impossible now. The question wasn't, am I going crazy? It was, who was she? I spent every waking moment digging. Town archives, online records, dusty genealogy forums. I searched for my family name from the late 1800s. And then I found her. Ilara, my great-aunt. The photograph made my blood run cold. It was her. The same gaunt face, the same hollow, sorrowful eyes from my reflection. And around her neck, clear as day, was my locket. The town records were sparse. She was born in 1870. She married a wealthy businessman, Thomas Vale, in 1890. And she died in 1891, at the age of 21. The cause of death was listed as a tragic accident, a fall down the grand staircase of their manor. It all seemed so neat, too neat. There was no other information. It was like her entire life had been condensed into 3 lines of text. But I knew there was more. The face I saw in the mirror wasn't at peace. It was screaming. I must have dozed off at my desk. The locket grew intensely warm against my skin, and the world dissolved. I wasn't in my apartment anymore. I was somewhere else. Someone else. The air smelled of wood smoke and perfume. I saw her, Elara. But she was young, vibrant, her face full of life and love. A man with a sharp suit and colder eyes was fastening the locket around her neck. It was a wedding gift. I could hear their voices, but they were distorted, like sounds heard from underwater. "So you'll always hold my heart close to yours," he said. But his smile didn't reach his eyes. There was a possessiveness there, a darkness. I was seeing her memory. I wasn't just watching it, I was feeling it. I felt her joy, her love, but underneath it, a tiny cold sliver of fear. The vision shattered, and I woke up with a gasp, my cheeks wet with tears that weren't my own. I wasn't just wearing her locket, I was carrying her memories. She's getting stronger. The whispers are clearer now. A single word, over and over. Liar. It's a woman's voice, full of rage and sorrow. Last night, it was more than just sounds. I woke up to a crash. Every book I own was on the floor. The shelf toppled over, as if by a great force. The wedding photo of my parents was on the ground, the glass shattered. It feels like a tantrum, a desperate, violent attempt to get my attention. The cold is almost constant now, clinging to me like a shroud. I feel her presence all the time. A heavy weight in the air. A shadow just at the edge of my vision. This isn't just a haunting anymore. She's not just a memory trapped in a piece of silver. She's an active, angry force, and my apartment has become her cage. I don't think she's trying to hurt me. I think she's trying to tell me something, and she's tearing my world apart to make me listen. I'm so tired. I can't eat. I can't sleep. All I can think about is her. Her story, her anger. It's becoming my anger. Sometimes I'll be doing something, and my hands, they don't feel like my own. I find myself humming old songs I've never heard, pacing my apartment in a way that isn't my own gait. I looked in the mirror today. When I saw her face looking back, I wasn't frightened. It felt familiar. I could feel her emotions as if they were mine. The profound sense of betrayal, the burning need for justice. The line between Emily and Elara is blurring. I don't know where my thoughts end and hers begin. The locket is no longer cold. It feels warm, like a part of my own body, fused to my skin. I think this is what she wanted all along. Not just an audience. She wants a vessel. She wants to finish what she started, and she's going to use my hands to do it. She finally showed me. Not a memory, but the moment itself. I felt the rough hands on my shoulders. I heard his voice, no longer charming, but a venomous snarl. The inheritance was promised to me. He screamed. It wasn't an accident. He pushed her. I experienced the fall, the horrifying, splintering impact, the world tumbling into darkness. But it didn't end there. I saw him, through her fading vision, prying up a floorboard at the bottom of the stairs. He stuffed a small leather-bound journal inside, his face a mask of panicked greed. It was her diary. The proof. He didn't just kill her. He erased her, rewriting her death as a clumsy accident. Hilara wasn't a malevolent spirit. She was a victim, screaming for a justice she never received. She didn't want my life. She wanted me to give her a voice, to uncover the lie that had defined true memory for over a century. Finding the old manor wasn't hard. It had been abandoned for decades. A local ruin people whispered about. I went at night, armed with a crowbar and a flashlight. The house was a skeleton, groaning in the wind. I felt her with me, guiding me, a cold presence at my back urging me forward. I found the spot at the bottom of the grand staircase, just like in the vision. The floorboards were rotten, and they came up with a sickening tier of splintering wood. And there it was. Her diary. It was damp and smelled of earth and decay, but it was intact. As my fingers touched the leather, I felt a profound wave of gratitude and sorrow wash over me. Elvira's spirit was right there with me, a silent, weeping guardian. This was it. The truth in my hands. I wasn't just holding a book. I was holding her soul. Now, I just had to show it to the world. The local historical society was skeptical at first, but Elvira's diary was undeniable. The story became a local sensation. Thomas Vale, once remembered as a tragic widower, was now exposed for what he was, a murderer. Elvira's name was cleared. Her story rewritten from a footnote of tragedy to a tale of betrayal and finally, justice. The day the article was published, I felt a change. The constant cold I had lived with for weeks finally vanished, replaced by a gentle warmth. The locket, once an icy weight, now felt like normal jewelry. That night, for the first time in a month, I slept soundly. I never heard her whisper again. She was free. I keep the locket in its box now, tucked away in a drawer. It's no longer a cursed object. It's a reminder. A reminder that some stories refuse to stay buried, and some ghosts just want their truth to be told. I was the one she chose to listen